But on the next turn, we can actually go Fake Out plus Spore into something, get Fluttermane back in, and go for another Parish Song, and that really should wrap up the game. We take the double knockout thanks to the Parish. How's it going, everyone? It's Matt Electric here, and we're back in the Battle Stadium for another few battles. Today I'm a little bit ill, I'm a little bit under the weather, so please bear with me. The next few episodes are probably going to sound a little bit like this. But today we've got PerishTrap, and I don't use PerishTrap very often, but it's super fun to use, not so fun to go up against. But yeah, it's such a cool team, this. There's not too much to go into it. Like, you get Gothitelle in, you prevent your opponent from switching, use Parish Song, you try and stall out a few turns, they die to Parish Song. It's kind of the way it works. But you'll notice there's a lot of healing in this team, right? And a lot of damage limitation to really make sure that PerishTrap goes off. But you can also trap your opponent in situations where they are weak to Gothitelle's partner, mainly Palafin, Fluttermane, and Iron Hands. Super, super fun team to use. Game 1, you really get to see Gothitelle in action, like what I just said, with the strong partner next to it. Game 2, you kind of get to see the comeback potential of this team. Like, if you're a Pokemon down or so, you know, this team has so much power behind it if you're not going with more of the PerishTrap variant. That I don't think I used Gothitelle in Game 2. And Game 3, you see pure PerishTrap in action. So, there are timestamps. Feel free to skip to the battle that you want to see. So this team was made by Lexicon VGC, and it was piloted by Justin Burns in the Nino Tour, and he won it in a fairly recent one as well. So let's jump into the first game. And today's first game is against a Dondozo team, actually very similar to a team that we used very recently. However, this team has the Glamora instead of the Dragonite that we had. But still, this should be a pretty cool matchup. Gothitelle with... Well, Gothitelle going up against Dondozo is really interesting, because obviously Dondozo somewhat requires switches. So it makes it a really, really interesting matchup. I'm fully expecting him to bring a team that can deal with Gothitelle. So my guess would be a Kingambit Fluttermane lead. Maybe he brings the Dondozo, etc. in the back. I don't have Haze on Palafin, which he may be expecting as well. However, Palafin is really good into everything that isn't Dondozo. So I think I'm going to lead with Palafin. And I need something for the Fluttermane plus Kingambit. My thinking is is Amoonguss. It's Gothitelle. My thinking is Amoonguss here. And then we go Gothitelle to trap things in to stop it from being able to switch out for Palafin. And do I want to go Arcanine? Arcanine I feel like is a risk. I think I prefer Fluttermane. Fluttermane can go for... No, he's actually really good into Fluttermane. Maybe we'll go Iron Hands. He's got a lot of special attackers on that team, so the Assault Vest from Iron Hands could be really useful. If he does bring the Dondozo, I'm not quite sure what we're going to do. Like I said, I don't think he's brought it, or I don't think he would bring it into this matchup. But it'll be really interesting to see. It's going to be... Well, I got half of my opponent's lead right. I guess they anticipated the Amoonguss. And what stat is going to be increased on the Ironmoth? It's going to be the speed. Obviously, that's to power it up with Fluttermane, so you can go Acid Spray plus an attack with Fluttermane. Palafin going to switch straight out here. And we're going to go into... What have you got? You've got the Kingambit out. And yeah, we'll go into Iron Hands. That should be fine. And I think I can quite safely click Protect here. On the following turn, I can go Fake Out into something. If my opponent's running Assault Vest Kingambit, which would be my presumption, it might not be, but that would be my presumption, then they may be forced into going for the Terra Grass, so I don't spore them. But this also gives us an opportunity to see what moveset the Ironmoth has. I'd really like to deal with the... My priority is to deal with the Kingambit, because I know Palafin can beat Ironmoth very comfortably. So we'll bring the Iron Hands in. Amoonguss goes for the Protect. Just expecting a Heat Wave, to be honest, plus, like, a Kowtow Cleave. Oh, he goes Overheat. Very pleased with our Protect play. And it is the Kowtow Cleave. Okay, so this turn I can actually quite happily go for Fake Out into the Ironmoth. No reason not to, really. And honestly, the Kingambit doesn't do anything to me here. So I'm very tempted to double up into the Ironmoth. Because this is a really good opportunity to put something to sleep. Do I double up into the Ironmoth? The Protect feels really obvious, that's the thing. It feels so obvious coming out from the Iron Moth here. I think I'm going to do it. If he protects, then fair enough. Like King Gambit's not doing much to me here anyway. He does switch out the King Gambit. Should I have spored that slot? Does he go for the Protect? He brings in the Fluttermane, so we know the Dozo combination isn't here. Oh, we're going to see a Terrestrialization from the Iron Moth. Is it Grass? It's Ghost to avoid the fake out, and then he can go ahead and take out Amoonguss with the Overheat. It's a great play from my opponent. I didn't see the Ghost Tower coming at all. This is why best of one sucks. Oh, he misses the Overheat! Oh my god! Oh, that's huge. Oh, that's insane. It also means that Palafin might not be able to one-shot it anymore with a Jet Punch, which is a pretty big deal. I think here we just go Heavy Slam plus Rage Powder into the Fluttermane. I don't think he'll expect the... Well, actually, you'll probably Focus Sash, right? So I'm going to double up into the Fluttermane. I'm going to go for the Pollen Puff plus Heavy Slam. He protects. That's fair. That's fair. That was a really good opportunity for me to bring in Palafin, actually. But he now sees the Heavy Slam, though, which is an issue. I think the other thing we've got to think about is that if I lose my Iron Hands, then my matchup in a King Gambit becomes a lot worse. I could definitely see Fluttermane switching here after seeing Heavy Slam. I think I'm going to Volt Switch. Switch out Amoonguss into Gothitelle. That way, if he wakes up, then Gothitelle's going to take the hit. He ends up switching out the Fluttermane. Is this going to be into King Gambit? Should I have gone for Close Combat, or is it going to be his last one? It is going to be King Gambit, so I could have gone for the... I really could have gone for the old Close Combat into the Ghost type, but it's fine. The Iron Moth is actually free to switch out here because it's still Ghost type. But I think the play to make is just go Fake Out into the King Gambit and then maybe go to try and threaten the Iron Moth with Palafin. I actually do have Close Combat on Palafin as well to be able to hit the King Gambit with. So what I said earlier is completely false. I'm not used to seeing Close Combat Palafin at all. I don't think a Jet Punch is going to be enough, so I think we're going to Wave Crash. I don't think I need to Terrestrialize, and we'll go for the Fake Out into King Gambit. He may go switch out King Gambit and go Protect, which is fair enough. But that would bring Fluttermane in, and Fluttermane... Oh, he can't actually switch King Gambit out, of course. He cannot switch King Gambit out, so I am absolutely fine to click Fake Out here. Maybe I should have used this as an opportunity to Close Combat. The Iron Moth actually gets the max sleep turns, which is super helpful for us. It means that we can get the Wave Crash. If I wonder if my opponent forgot that he couldn't switch out. The Wave Crash is able to take out the Iron Moth, which is great. We didn't see a Protect that turn either from the King Gambit, which means it likely is Assault Vest, which is some great information for us. I presume Fluttermane is what's going to be switching in here. So I'm trying to work out whether or not my play is to double target it with like Jet Punch plus Psychic, or whether or not I want to Close Combat the King Gambit. Now King Gambit's not that big of a threat while I've got Iron Bundle. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, this screams Spiky Shield. This absolutely screams Spiky Shield. So we're going to go Close Combat, and we're going to go Heal Pulse. Yeah, this just screams Spiky Shield. It's like he's just waiting for my Palafin to go for Jet Punch to take the knockout. There's no way he doesn't Spiky Shield. Unless it's Specs with Energy Ball. That would really suck if that's the case. And it's Specs or Scarf with Energy Ball. Oh, okay, no, it's Scarf. It's not Specs. This is fine then, right? Because we go Close Combat, we take the knockout, and then we just go for the Heal Pulse afterwards. Palafin does have special defense drops, but we can just switch it out now. He's now locked into the Energy Ball. My opponent not only can't switch because of Shadow Tag, but he's got no Pokemon left to switch into, so this is really, really good for us. Because I know that Palafin now can one-shot the Glamora. It definitely can with a Terrestrialization. It's whether or not it can with just with Jet Punch or without. Actually, do you know what? I think the play here is honestly just go Terrestrialize Jet Punch into Heal Pulse. I'm sure this thing's Choice Scarfed. I'm sure it's Choice Scarfed. If it's not, I'm gonna look a bit silly here. But I'm positive it's Choice Scarfed. So we're gonna Terrestrialize with Palafin and go for the knockout into the Glamora. Obviously, he's already used the Terrestrialization earlier on the Iron Moth. But I think we really showed how useful Gothitelle can be in this game by trapping in that King Gambit. He goes Protect with the Fluttermane, which is not something I necessarily expected. Maybe he was expecting... I don't know. I don't know why you'd do that. Oh, it's not enough to take it out! It sashed! It was just max speed! Well, that's annoying. It sashed. It was just max speed. So this is a bulky Palafin set. I really thought it was scuffed. It is a bulky Palafin set, but I thought that we'd still be able to outspeed it, but I guess I just don't know my speed tiers very well. I know Glamora is, what, 87, 86, something like that? And Gothitelle's Heal Pulse obviously doesn't come off. But we can go for the Heal Pulse next turn. Not Heal Pulse next turn. We can go for the Psychic next turn into Glamora. And with Amoonguss, we just go for the... Well, not only do we pick up the Toxic Spikes, which is great, but I just click Rage Powder. There's no way that Fluttermane will be able to do anything. We'll be able to knock out Amoonguss. So we'll just go for the Psychic. He probably goes Spiky Shield this turn. I thought for sure it would have Spiky turned before, but I guess not. I guess because of the focus actually felt safe enough just to be able to go for the attack, the initial Energy Ball onto Palafin. He does go for the Shadow Ball, of course. I actually think the play there was probably Protect Gothitelle and Spore Fluttermane. But it's fine. It's fine. There we are. So our aim of the game is to get this into a situation where we've got Iron Hands in on enough HP, which it does have a lot of HP, so we should be fine, because obviously we'll one-shot it with a Heavy Slam. Which means that this thing wasn't... Oh, this thing was Booster Energy, wasn't it? It wasn't Sashed. Was it Booster... No. Iron Moth with Booster Energy. Okay, I don't know why it was on this Fluttermane. Got no idea. Maybe it's... No, we saw Protect, so it's not Specs. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm going to go for the Spore. And I'm going to go for the... I don't think there's any point in me going Heal Pulse. We'll go for the Psychic for a little bit of extra chip. And he goes for the Shadow Ball, maybe expecting the Protect, or maybe hoping I would click Protect. Gothitelle actually hangs on there, which honestly doesn't do me much good. I would have preferred that if my opponent took the knockout. Oh, we see a Life Orb. Apparently I've missed that the entire game. Completely missed the Life Orb. Life Orb is a thing, actually. That is something that's becoming more and more popular. We get a little bit of chip off there with the Psychic. And here I think I'm just going to go for the... Do I Pollen Puff? Yeah, so I think the play here is we go Pollen Puff into Gothitelle, and then we switch out Gothitelle into Iron Hands. This is a guaranteed turn of sleep. Okay, they forfeit. So my plan there was to get the Iron Hands in, get it up to full HP, so it was guaranteed to live a Fairy move. If it couldn't live a Moonblast, which honestly I don't know about that. I don't know about that damage range, I'm not sure. If it wasn't able to live a Moonblast, it wouldn't matter because I would have just gone for the Rage Powder, and then we just taken it out in one hit with the Heavy Slam. So that would have been the game. So yeah, good first game. Really showed off Gothitelle what it can do. We didn't get to see Parasong, but let's see if we get to see it in game number 2. Okay guys, into game number 2 then we have Volcarona, Roaring Moon, King Gambit, Fluttermane, Tauros, and the Mimikyu. So there's 2 ghost types, which makes things a little bit annoying for Gothitelle. I'm actually really confused on what I want to lead with. I think Arcanine's a pretty solid lead here. If he ends up going King Gambit, I do need something to deal with it. Maybe I go Arcanine plus a Fake Out user. Maybe it is Gothitelle. Maybe that is the play. No, because if you leave one of the ghost types, then I'm pretty screwed. Iron Hands isn't a bad option. Mimikyu's Fairy moves aren't going to be doing quite as much to it because of Intimidate. I can also go like Snarl plus Heavy Slam to knock it out straight away. If he goes King Gambit, then I can go for a Fake Out and try and knock it out with a Flare Blitz. So I think this is alright. Iron Hand also threatens the Roaring Moon. What do we want in the back? Also, would I want Palafin here? I don't think so, because he's got the Disguise, he's got Intimidate and the Resistance with Tauros, he's got the Resistance with Roaring Moon, he's got the Flame Body with Volcarona. That can cause a lot of issues, so I'm not sure if Palafin is the play. Amoonguss doesn't look too bad here. I think I'll bring Fluttermane, and yeah, we'll bring Amoonguss in the back. So no Gothtail this time. I just don't think it's worth it with the 2 Ghost types running around. And Fluttermane in the back can still finish off the game with Perish Song, so yeah, I think if we can take 2 knockouts fairly quickly, get Fluttermane in. With Amoonguss, it's Pollen Puffs with the redirection. I think there's a really good chance that we finish the game with Perish Song. But let's see what my opponent leads with. It's going to be the Volcarona King Gambit, which is absolutely fine. We, of course, do give my opponent a Defiant boost, but they are going to be extremely threatened by the close combat. So, honestly, I could see my opponent just going for a Terastallization with the King Gambit. I think we'll go Fake Out into Flare Blitz. And just get some massive damage off first turn. Yeah, we do see the early Terastallization. I'm hoping that this Volcarona isn't going to be a Will-O-Wisp set, because if it does have Wisp, then that's a huge problem. He's actually going to Terastallize into the Water type, which is going to make him resistant to Fire. And this is where we really miss out on not having Wild Charge. And does my opponent just go for Quiver Dance? Do they Will-O-Wisp? No, they Tailwind. Okay, so that's really interesting. With +1, though, that's actually incredibly threatening. This is very threatening. I could go for an E-Speed into the King Gambit. I don't know how much that will do. But I really, really just want to try and take it out. Volt Switch is super effective. Obviously, we would be using a special attack, so I think the downside here as well is if he Rage Powders... Oh, wait, Arcanine's safe goals, isn't it? So that can't happen. So, yeah, we can E-Speed you. And we're going to go for a Volt Switch just in case you Rage Powder. So, yeah, so because of the safe goggles, Arcanine won't be redirected by Flame Body. By Rage Powder, sorry, and therefore Flame Body won't activate. That's what I was concerned about. But we actually don't have to worry about that. I'll be really interested to see how much damage we can do with Extreme Speed here. Volcarona does choose to Rage Powder as we expected. Arcanine goes for the Extreme Speed. How much damage can you do, Arcanine, to this King Gamb? Oh, that did very little, actually. That did a whole lot less than what I was expecting. Okay. So I think it's going to have to be the Amoonguss to bring in. I think it's going to have to be. That Extreme Speed was a mistake. I thought it would do a bit more damage than that, to be honest with you. I didn't think it would take it out, but I thought it would at least be a 2-hit KO, and then we could finish it off on the following turn. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Volcarona actually can target whatever it wants, and it may just take a knockout quite easily. I think we're going to Flare Blitz Volcarona. No, there's no point. I may as well go for the Extreme Speed into it. Maybe it's a little bit more spongy. And we'll go for a Spore into King Gambit. This is where not having Gleam kind of sucks on Fluttermane, because it means we can't go for the spread damage. My opponent actually has Rocky Helmet there. They have spread damage in the Heat Wave, and King Gambit can probably take a fairly comfortable knockout here. Of all the Terastallizations, it was bloody Water. I thought maybe Flying, I thought Ghost. Oh, he actually goes for Brick Break. And we are able to get the Spore off, though. And he's not safe rules, so probably Assault Vest. So in this situation, I basically have to bring the Fluttermane, and I need to get rid of this Volcarona now. I think it's also important that I switch out Amoonguss. Amoonguss will have Regenerator activate. So at least we're able to get some, HP back, because I think that could be super crucial in the late game. Maybe the thing is, I don't think Shadow Ball or Moonblast. I don't think either of them would take out the King Gambit. We're going to see the Heat Wave come up from my opponent. Gets the burn on Fluttermane, which is annoying, mainly because the repetitive damage is a little bit annoying, but Fluttermane is going to get the big Shadow Ball off into the Volcarona. It's not enough to take it out, of course. I wonder how many turns of Tailwind are left. Okay, that's it. That's it for the Tailwind. So my opponent can obviously go for the Rage Powder. If I Fake Out, I think Fake Out and Rage Powder are the same priority, but Volcarona are at speed, so my Fake Out would just go into the Volcarona. I'm very concerned about Sucker Punch. Very, very concerned. So we're going to go Protect. I feel like I have to Heavy Slam it. No, I can't Heavy Slam. This is really tough. I basically need to hope he stays asleep. Fluttermane goes for the Shadow Ball. He does not choose to go for the Sucker Punch, which is good information. Stay asleep. Come on. One more sleep turn. Oh, Iron Hands outspeeds and gets the close combat off, and we take the knockout. Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, we've got a game on our hands here. I was fully expecting the Sucker Punch or it to outspeed Iron Hands, because the base speeds, I think King Gambit has 5 higher base speed, but wow, yeah, so we do have a little bit of speed in Iron Hands. It's not much, it's a few points, but I don't think it'd be enough to outspeed a neutral speed King Gambit. So, yeah, really interesting. It's going to be the Roaring Moon that switches in. We haven't seen my opponent Terrestrialize. No, we have. The King Gambit Terrestrialize. Okay. That gives us a great opportunity here. It's a pretty tight opportunity, to be honest with you. I'm expecting Protect from Roaring Moon, and then Shadow Ball into Fluttermane. And I think I have to make that gamble. So I'm going to go for Heavy Slam into my opponent's Fluttermane and Protect with my own Fluttermane. If he ends up going for the Fairy move into the Iron Hands, then fair enough. I don't think there's much more I could have done. The Water King Gambit really threw me off. Really, really threw me off. Actually, I would have been alright with... Well, they led Volcarona. I actually would have been alright leading with Gothitelle. I might have had to Terrestrialize to make myself not weak to Dark, but yeah, I may have been alright with it. So Roaring Moon actually goes for a Throat Chop here into the Fluttermane. And it's going to be Fluttermane going for Dazzling Gleam. Now, I think I'll live this thanks to my Assault Vest. I do live. And he's Life Orb. He isn't sashed. That's huge. Heavy Slam knocks out the Fluttermane. And do we have a comeback on our hands? No pun intended, because we are using Iron Hands, but... And now, surely... I think my opponent expected Dazzling Gleam to take a knockout then, but Gleam, with the spread damage, it becomes much weaker. We can go for Moonblast into Roaring Moon. We can also go Close Combat. Both attacks super effective. We saw the booster energy, so he's not sashed. And it is enough to take the knockout. And honestly, I thought this game was over. I thought this game was done. But being able to get the King Gambit asleep, I cannot believe he didn't go for the Sucker Punch to try and wake up first time. I honestly can't believe it. I also am really surprised that Iron Hands outsped. Lots of things went our way in that particular turn. In terms of, like, the stats. But we were able to pull it off. We went for the prediction on that last turn. Maybe they didn't have Moonblast. Maybe they had to go for the... the Dazzling Gleam. So they went Dazzling Gleam, but... Obviously, they knew that Fluttermane could hit either one of them for super effective damage. And he knew that Fluttermane wasn't Focus Sashed. So he would have been very scared of a potential Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball into that slot, Moonblast into the Roaring Moon, and yeah, they wanted to make sure they got the knockout into Fluttermane, but fortunately our Protect was the right play, And between it and Iron Hands, we wrapped up the game. Let's get number 3. So in our game number 3, we actually have the Slowpoke team that was running around Season 1. Fortunately, we know what we're up against here. The idea is that Slowpoke will go... Slowpoke? The idea is that Slowpoke will go for Trick Room, and then it can use Surf on whatever its partner is, and the partner will get a benefit, right? So, I think Torkoal has Weakness Policy, Gastrodon has Storm Drain, Arboliva resists it and has the Absorb Bulb. I can't remember what Hariyama gets. Hariyama might just be there to help set it up. But this will be really, really interesting. I actually think Gothitelle Fluttermane is perfect for this kind of a team. There's no ghost types. He can't go for Fake Out into Fluttermane. I'm pretty free to get the Perish Song off. So let's absolutely do it. Fluttermane plus Gothitelle will bring... The Fake Out could be a little bit annoying because, well, the Psychic Terrain could be annoying because we can't Fake Out. So I think we may go with a Moongus for Spores. Arcanine could also be a good option for Snarl, and not so much Intimidate, but Snarl specifically. I think we got Iron Hands because it's got the Assault Vest, and that extra bulk could be super nice. And I'll go with the Moongus as well for the Spore Pressure. Yeah, this would be a really, really interesting game. This is a great opportunity to try and go get the PerishTrapping team going. And just try and get the first 2 knockouts with PerishTrap, and then either finish off the game with offense or finish off the game with another Perish Song. It's a great opportunity to try and do it. Let's see if my opponent does go down the Slowpoke route. It's going to be Hariyama plus Gastrodon. Does this Hariyama have Bullet Punch? That would be my question. Either way, I'm going to go for Fake Out into it. So here we go. Fake Out into Hariyama plus the Perish Song. And this isn't a bad lead at all for us, right? We get the Fake Out off here, so my opponent can't go for Fake Out. We get the Perish Song off. On the next turn, we can look to protect Gothitelle and bring in Iron Hands. Be interested to see if they go for Muddy Water or Earth Power. It looks like they're going for the Muddy Water. Gothitelle actually avoids it. It's a shame that Fluttermane couldn't avoid it. That did so much. It's Life Orb. My god. Okay, this is fine. This is alright. So here my opponent really, really wants to get rid of the Gothitelle. Be interested to see if my opponent would be able to switch, or would be able to predict the switch into Iron Hands, actually. That would be really interesting to see if they predict it and go for an Earth Power. Which they might do based on that damage, or they might Bullet Punch. And if they Bullet Punch, then Iron Hands is pretty happy. If they Earth Power that slot, though, I don't know quite how much damage that'll do. But I do think going for bringing Iron Hands here is important. Having that Fake Out pressure is just so nice. So let's see what they do. Gothitelle gets the Protect off. They go for the Knockoff. Okay, so the fact they've got Knockoff is really good information for us. And of course my opponent will have Earth Power, so that's something we need to think about. They go for the Muddy Water. That's some solid damage to Iron Hands. The accuracy dropping is really annoying, actually, because it means that Fake Out is a little bit less reliable here. We'll be faster than the opponent's Hariyama, so that's fine. We'll be faster than the Gastrodon as well. I think this turn we just want to go Heal Pulse into Iron Hands. Or I could go for the Terra Steel, so I'm not weak to... No, I don't think I go Terra Steel. I think this is fine. I think Heal Pulse into Iron Hands is right, along with the Fake Out into Hariyama. I'm really hoping the accuracy drop doesn't cost us. It looks pretty good to me. We'll get the Heal Pulse off to make sure that we are definitely living this Earth Power, because we are going to take a rather big hit from it. Oh, they go for just stick out with the Muddy Waters. Okay, that's fine. And is this the last turn of Perish? No, okay. So there's one more turn of Perish Song left. And this is the turn where we need to switch out Gothitelle. So I think Amoonguss is probably the right play. If he goes for Knockoff, that's fine. Also, it's really important we keep Fluttermane around. Iron Hands here. I think just Volt Switches, to be honest. And I can just bring Gothitelle back into that slot for another fake out on the next turn. And the important thing with PerishTrap is you just need to keep the momentum going once you're in control. Here we go with the Volt Switch. Switch back out. And we bring Gothitelle back in. Because there's no way they can knock off into Iron Hands. That would make no sense. It's probably an Earth Power into Iron Hands. They go for the close combat into that slot instead. But Gothitelle, of course, resists it. So that's all good. And we're going to see what from the Gastrodon. We get the nice Citrus Berry. Very nice. But that pivot with the Volt Switch is just so helpful for this kind of a situation. We actually don't need Gothitelle anymore because these two Pokemon will both faint, so we don't need Shadow Tag. But on the next turn, we can actually go Fake Out plus Spore into something, get Flutter Mane back in, and go for another Perish Song, and that really should wrap up the game. We take the double knockout thanks to the Perish. And yeah, this game is going brilliantly. It's going perfectly to plan. I did look at this team and thought this is ideal for a PerishTrapping situation. And yeah, this is perfect. So the opponent actually brings in Torkoal here, which I would love to put to sleep. And Slowpoke comes in as well. Very nice. He actually might go for Protect here instead. Protect plus Trick Room. So my play here is to go Spore into Torkoal, because Amoonguss will always outspeed Torkoal. Well, not always, but this is a Torkoal for Trick Room, right? Like, it'll be minimum speed. So we just go Spore into Torkoal, and we go Fake Out into the Slowpoke to stop it from doing just that. And they end up forfeiting. Of course, all I had to do really was get the Torkoal asleep and try and pivot myself back into a situation where Flutter Mane can go for the... honestly, I actually could have just gone for Shadow Balls into the Torkoal to take it out, because the Slowpoke won't have enough offense to be able to do anything, really. So that is our third game done and dusted. We really got to show PerishTrap really well in that last game, so that was great. I feel like we've showed so many different components of this team. A really, really cool team as well. Give it a go, guys. Of course, the links to everything will be in the description. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Cheers.